The workshop meetings to order. I'm going well, yeah, we should, probably should have done that at 5 o'clock. Yeah, do the roll call, please.
Councilperson Smith,
Present.
Councilperson Wadsworth,
Present.
Councilperson Sellers,
Present.
Councilperson Webb,
Present.
Council President Gill,
Here.
Councilperson Julius,
Here.
Councilperson Owen,
Here.
Councilperson Samuel.
Here.
Let the record reflect 8 council members present.
Okay, Heather. I'm gonna
There-
ask Heather to go over.
Is a green book that I'm going to leave up here, so when the departments come, they can say page 25 or whatever, they know exactly what you're looking at, so it's exactly the same thing that you all have. The first thing in the book is our summary sheet, which is very helpful. This shows your cash at the end of the year, if everything is budgeted, or everything budgeted is spent, and our revenues come in exactly the way that they are. We've estimated revenues conservatively, so it may be a little higher than that. The next thing in your book is revenues. So you can look at the trends from 2012, 13, and 14 are actuals. The first 6 months of this year are actual, and then we've estimated the last 6 months of this year and all of next year. That's also reflected on your summary sheet. I would suggest taking this out of your book, the summary sheet, and having it next to you, because then it would be nice to see that without having to flip back and forth whenever the departments come up. It also has a list of all of the fund numbers and names, so that would be helpful if you can't find where the fund's at, it'll show you what the number is.
Heather, let me ask a question real quick about that,
Yes,
this page.
summary, yes.
Yeah, summary of the cash balances. If I look at, just at the general fund, just as an example,
Yes,
if I look 1, 2, 3, fourth from the right to the column, estimated cash balances basically at the end of this year,
yes,
2.4 million.
yes,
Then I'll look to the far right, it says estimated cash at the end of next year, 16th,
yes,
or 16, yeah, the 16th, 273,000.
yes.
So, not quite $2 million deficit spending. Is that,
Right,
interpret this page?
right. If you look at the third to the last column, that estimated revenue is 29 million, and the proposed budget is the 32 million.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'm with you. Yeah.
And that is to get the maximum levy.
Yes,
So that will not be the budget. I mean, when our cuts
the
come
circuit
back.
breaker is included in that, yes.
Right.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
And what did the circuit breaker, you mean you all kind of guesstimated the cost in that?
Right. I
based
think
on
we
the last-
estimated it at 3 million, yes,
from last
in the
year?
general fund, yes.
And this year was pretty close.
Yes. And remember, we shifted a little bit of that levy to the parks and the sanitation, so impact will be less on the general fund because of that. But that also makes the impact a little bit more on those funds.
So on
It's based on levy.
on the surface, you look at this and you see deficit spending, but you take out the $3 million that's extra for the circuit breaker cuts, and it's really $1 million added.
It's included in the revenue and included in so it's a wash.
I got you.
Okay. I also put on your desk, I had a request for the allocations for salaries, because there's some some funds that cover other parts, like finance, we're 80/20. So that will tell you this is actual salary for that person, not budgeted or any of that. And then you've got,
I'm sorry, it's this one?
yes. Then you've got your actual expenditures and revenues and cash balance as of right now today. So that's for 2015 budget. And then we went through all of the budgets for 2016 and tried to get a summary together of significant changes. Significant change to me is $1,000, so anything littler than $1,000 is obviously not on this list. And then some things are grouped together, like your supply category or your, services category, so that you can kind of see that. And I do put a disclaimer on this that I'm only human, and I've been looking at these numbers for 2 months now, and it's really difficult for me. I may have missed something, and I hope I did not. So that is that. Any other questions?
Yeah, while you're up there, let me just mark this so no significant changes. Council, before we start even our first one, as council president, I'm just kind of making these recommendations, and want your all's input. The way we've done the budget, the past 3 years is, we're dealing with the circuit breakers. I'm kind of mimicking what we did even last year, which I've already met with Amy and Heather. We let them know going forward that they go off of their 2015 budget. Okay? And what we did last year, and I wanted to see if we wanted to do that this year, so before Andy even starts, he knows right off the bat, and every department head after. Last year, because of the unknown with the circuit breaker, we kind of put that $3 million in there as a buffer, but to be safe, we pulled capital under council, and we put the performance pools under council. And we also, I think last year, we put any new hires on hold until after circuit breakers. So I wanted to see where everybody stands with that, so we're consistent, clear across the board before we talk to our first department head. So I do recommend we pull the performance pools and the capital under council. I don't know what you all want to do about that. We've got quite a few new employees that are proposed this year, so we need to take that in consideration.
Last year also, with the capital, you left 5,000 in the
5,000
regular,
and
and then, anything 5,000 and above. Yeah.
This may be kind of a grabbing question, but do we have any expectations, or what have you heard from other municipalities throughout the state about health insurance and things like that? I mean, can we...
We budgeted,
Everything I've heard is going up considerably.
the number that's in the budget for the premium is about a 15% increase. So, I know that I know Amy and Kim has met with, I don't know her name, is it Peggy? With Humana, and they think that it's going to be maybe somewhere around 12% increase, or
Maybe
up to a
12 to
15.
15% increase. And what about like liability insurance and all that? Is that we going to
I don't know the answer to that one.
I mean, are we going to go ahead and increase that?
That's included in all of that, right? Isn't that's not included?
No.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, your property
If you
and
can-
casualty in your line item, and I asked Jerry Rauch, and I got it on your all's.
Oh, I'm completely wrong, aren't I? Yes,
I asked him for the loss
I admit it. I'm completely wrong.
run.
Is that what you gave us out, Vicki? You gave us
Yeah, and it says, like, on it, it says, it has 2013, 2014, but on 2015, it says, based on earned premium to date and loss not fully developed, report loss of 1.177, or about 212% LR against earned premium to date. Auto 89%, GL 104%, workman's comp 551%. Pardon me?
General liability.
And then auto and workman's comp, obviously most impacted by the accident. And GL is impacted by the 65K fall on the step at the bridge. 44 claims. So he's, and then there's an email, and I think when Kim and Amir sits down with Jerry on the insurance, he should have the council president or a member of the council with him so you all can see that, because they evidently met on the 11th of August. And he said as far as the 2016 premium increase, in his discussion with Travelers, the goal is to keep the rate in single digits. And he says, my honest opinion is that it would be high single digits. So we really don't know what the fluctuation is going to be on our property and casualty. And I know on your budget, when Connie and Lisa and I worked on it, we increased that strictly for the claim, or the chances of the premium going up. And then on the property and casualty, claims, we had an increase because we haven't received some of the claims yet from the the dump truck accident and stuff. Plus, if other things come through, I'll, say somebody has a $25,000 loss and we have to pay it, that's going to have to come out of that claim also. So we really don't have an honest, I can see it going up more. I know we just recently had 3 police vehicles wrecked, and I haven't gotten the claims for those yet either, so.
My concern really is that, but my concern is the health insurance.
Yeah, and I apologize about that. I was thinking of the claims, but the health insurance fund, we watch how that cash goes because it's in a separate bank account and all that. And I think it was budgeted at $5 million this year, and looking at how the cash, and we're getting reimbursements from wastewater and them monthly, it's working out that I think the $5 million should be good for next year also.
Okay, and that's if we don't have a lot of claims, right?
Right.
Because we're self-insured. So
Right.
if we end up having several people get seriously ill, that could jump way up, which scares me because we only have $273,000 left in the general fund. We do not have money to move. And it's happened before when we've had to move $500,000 into the health insurance fund.
And we
So-
had put in for $6 million in the health insurance, and it only shows $5 million here.
Because of the amount that is, the cash that's in the bank account right now,
Yeah, but when they did a requested budget, should that not be what they requested?
it was changed, yes.
I told them to move it back to what we submitted.
Yeah, we can change it back. We can change it to
Yeah, I
whatever
mean, I
you
think
guys
the-
want to put it at.
I think the property and casualty, the health.
And
insurance-
we don't move any of that money until it's the
I know,
bank
but
account.
I guess what
Yeah.
my question is, they submitted a budget, should it not reflect as the budget that they submitted?
It was changed. That's all I can tell you is that all the departments and everyone met with the mayor's office and
But I'm
they
just
decided
saying,
to
But
change
that was
it.
our budget,
budget, yeah, that's their
so it
budget.
shouldn't have changed.
We can change it back.
I would, on the health insurance, I'd like to maintain the upper one, $6 million, simply because of, if you talk to anybody in the private sector that's got health insurance, if you talk to any of them, they're gonna tell you if they have insurance with the company they work for, how much it's went up and how it's changing, and it's gonna get us. We'll make sure it's covered.
Can I ask one question with you all? So if we kept it the way it was changed and it goes up, whose fault is it that we don't have money to pay for it?
Whoever changed it. But I'm saying, and I make that request, we go back to what we submitted, that's our budget, we're elected officials. We're going back to what we submitted.
So you wanna maintain the $6 million in health?
Yes, sir.
Well, and then I can, when it comes time
We
to
really
you
need to
all,
know
I
what all
can
was
go,
changed.
I don't have it on me right now, but what we actually requested for property and casualty.
Mhm. I have those numbers too, yeah.
Heather, do you know, off the top of your head, other things that were changed that we submitted that we might be significant, we need to know?
Well, Vicky has all of the original ones, and I also have those too. I think that it was the council budget that was turned in, and I think that, I'm not sure all the different ones, but yeah, I can pull that for you.
Okay. Because you said your head hurts with numbers. You can imagine us, when we don't have to live it every day, then we look at this, it can be overwhelming. And then when we think something's submitted, and we think it's in here, and we don't catch it, we don't want to have that situation. So I just want to
Right.
know what was changed.
Well, I caught it with Vicki, and I took the original thing up to Amy and Heather on Friday and made that request, put it back to what we submitted.
Okay.
I don't want to do this, what was changed, not what was changed, go back to exactly what we submitted from the
Right.
beginning.
Who submitted it on behalf of the council?
Vicky?
Vicki,
We
myself,
did.
and
Yeah, I mean, you all went through it, and yeah.
Didn't get anyone together.
There was
It's
an
the
email that
council's
went out.
budget, but, I don't remember having a meeting talking about the council's budget
It's
before it was
because we were
submitted.
told that it was supposed to be done, and it was kind of like on the spur of the moment. Heather said we needed to.
Multiple
About a
emails.
week and a half, you had time,
Yeah.
about a week and a
Just
half
us.
to
Yeah.
get it together.
So,
But we can have all that ready for when we get to your time, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
but I haven't got she had some questions on insurance. And I'm really putting it out there that we follow kind of like what we did in the lines last year, just to be a little conservative with all the insurance and things unknown. And also keep in mind too, we've got a lot of experience going off this council. We've got new council members, they'll be coming in on several seats that I don't know what their knowledge of the budget is, the knowledge of revenues and funds, so I think as when we start January, that we need to, that we know that we're being conservative because we've been through the circuit breaker impacts. We know how that, if we don't manage that the proper way or keep an eye on it out of the gate, we can get in some trouble really fast. So are you all in agreement about pulling the capital 5,000 and above back under council and the performance pools back under council?
Yeah.
Heather, when we gave the 3% for the salaries, did that include department heads or just the?
It was everyone that's not contracted.
Yeah, and see, that bothers me because did the mayor give them their raises? They didn't give their raises to themselves, did they?
No, they had a performance review.
And then the mayor, because they're his hires, and then
Yes.
he and Kim, I'm supposing, got together
Yes.
and did that. Okay,
You're talking about for their department heads?
right.
We asked about that when raises went out this year, and Kim has said that the mayor was actually the first person to submit his employee reviews. So, I mean, reviews are on file for everyone.
Yes.
And I have we haven't really started the budget, because isn't engineering first? Who's first? Okay.
Engineering.
So we're kind of random spitfiring for a second, trying to get up to speed. On all the salaries through everything,
Yes.
are they, I think there's some confusion, some are current salaries, and then did some go ahead and put in what they want it to be?
There are a few, I went through everyone's paycheck from when they got the increase, so that I know what the real number is for next year, and adjusted for those to be exactly the same thing as it would be for this year for next year. And then there are a few that asked for more than that, and they would be included on that list of significant changes.
Oh, this is it.
On this list.
Yes.
Okay. But everything, okay.
So if you do see some that have a variance in their appropriation, is because the appropriation for 2015 still needs a little bit of wiggle room from the timing of the increase, and some people get paid weekly, some people get paid semi-monthly, So I know that, like if you just look at,
line 19, director has an increase to midpoint on his salary. 27 is another. 28, 29.
yeah, I tried to number those to make it a little bit easier to
It
understand.
is a lot easier, thank you.
Like if you look at the budget on page 1, under paralegal, she's an allocation table, so I'd have to double check that number with the allocation table. So it might not really be an increase of that number, it's just, yeah. See, we need to bring that back down. I didn't know all of the allocation tables because they're not all consistent. So that 32,666, to be consistent with this year, I would bring it back down to the 33,306. Do you see that?
How many of them were changed, do you know, Heather? Besides going through here, do you know?
I don't know.
Assuming if we approve it, we'll get it.
We'd have to look at each
Well, yeah.
one individually. And you can ask the department heads too, I'm sure that they would know.
Thank you, Heather. I think at this time, I'm going to go ahead and let Andy and Becky go into the engineer's budget. You were here, you heard about performance pool and
We did. Thank you. She just passed that.
Page 2 or 24? Page 2.
I guess, Heather, I guess this would be a question for you then. Going down through the engineer, most of his increases, are, for example, longevity, and a lot of these increases are basically increases for Social Security, different things. That's kind of out of our control. Is that something that we,
I figured them at the proper percentage
okay.
and then rounded.
But I'm saying that's for 16 and all these other ones we see as we go through, these are increases based basically on what'll change without a salary increase, is just basically the other increases.
We didn't adjust any of those through our department.
Did you know you could?
I've never asked.
Okay.
No, I did not.
Actually, I did, and I matched her numbers, except she rounded up, and I left it as is, so I was on the same page with her.
I think it increases every year anyway.
Yeah.
Social Security and them, they
Yeah.
go up a little bit. Just because they do. On traffic signals, Andy, what, do you know of any, and you may not, but what's out there that we can go after to help update? I'll give you an example, but most of the traffic signals downtown are mechanical,
Right,
and they don't talk to each other. I mean, they've got the big box, and you hear the motor running.
right.
Okay. Is there anything out, I wonder if there's anything out there that we could go after to try to get some match money?
It'd probably be a good question for the Lynn. I don't, from a funding standpoint, I don't have an answer for you. I can tell you that I'm gonna come to you, or request to come to you probably in the next 1 or 2 council meetings and request some additional funding for this year to take care of some issues that we've already been looking at. We'd like to replace some signal heads and put some pedestrian crosswalk signal heads at 12th and Spring, there in front of the hospital.
And 14th?
And
And at 14,
no, just 12th.
this one.
And then also do the lights, and that we could probably do that under street lights, put the lights under the underpass that we've talked about.
What about with the new bridge construction from, let's say, Court Avenue from Spring Street to, all that's going to change, right? I wonder, are they going to?
Well, just from 65 to Spring, maybe. I mean, you're not going past Spring. Their work isn't going past Spring.
Okay, so Mulberry, maybe.
Yeah, we've talked about doing something around the intersection at Mulberry. It's a little odd intersection between the north side of Court and the south side of Court right there.
So basically, I guess what we're saying is, going with what Lisa says, about all the way down on the bottom of his, on the traffic signals, he's going from 30 to 50,000, excuse me, from 20,000 to 50, which is 30 increase. Would that be something that we'd hold over till after the circuit breakers and all that? Does that fall in line with that?
I don't know, traffic signals to me, I look at that as a safety. I look at that as a different kind of need versus people.
I think if you look back historically, and Becky can correct me, but we spend every dollar out of that traffic signal. If you give us 30, we spend 30. If you give us 50, we're going to spend 50. A lot of times that you may not see it because it doesn't happen until November, because we do all of our repairs through the year, and then we have $12,000 left. We go buy as many traffic signal new cabinets to replace the mechanical ones as we can.
So in answer kind of to Mike's question, if we kept it at 20 with 30,000 moved over, knowing that once the circuit breakers are back, you get the 30 back, that wouldn't bug you?
That won't hold
Because
you
it'll
up.
That
happen
won't.
by February or March.
Yeah, if we could know by February or March, that would be fine.
That was our original discussion.
Okay.
And I don't disagree with you, but I'm just saying them are increases that when Andy's already going to come back this year and talk to us. So there may be some point we might want to take added dollars or something. It depends on what he presents he might present a package that might exceed 30,000, I don't know.
I probably will.
But I mean, at the end of the day, I'm just talking about for your net 15, 16 budget.
Oh, yeah.
I had a question, Andy, on page 3, the very last one, under your budget, sidewalks, you have nothing planned?
No, I'm not sure why that line item is in there. The way you guys have done sidewalks for new construction in the past is you've done a special additional appropriation for particular areas in town. So I know I was here a couple of months ago, we talked about some sidewalks that we'd like to construct. I don't know that that appropriation has been made or discussed any further, but I don't know the last time that had money in it just for sidewalks, just to do.
The 2015
On our-
amended budget includes the additional appropriations that we've done throughout the year to fund those projects.
Right.
There was no money requested for that for the 2015 budget initially. We added it in
It was
through
carried
additional
over from last year.
appropriations.
That's correct. We've never come at budget time and requested money for sidewalks. You guys have, the council's done that discretion at different times of the year.
Right.
I got you.
It just doesn't show the 2015 original proposed budget, which would have been zero in that line item.
Probably so.
Andy, I know we bought the bucket truck last year, the 129, 628, what was the rest of it?
Where was that?
That 129 was the whole.
That was it.
The whole thing was it really?
Yeah.
I didn't remember it being that much.
Yeah, the request was for the quote that we received.
We got chrome wheels now, don't we?
It's really nice.
Dual exhaust and CD player, don't
Don't forget sunroof.
Mhm.
So we're gonna move the
Yeah, your main
performance
thing is-
increase pool, we're gonna move that. We're gonna move the 30,000 under equipment, under traffic signals.
Do we want to put that in the council or, okay.
Where do you see performance increase?
You want to go ahead and budget it?
Performance
or
increase
do you
pool.
want to leave
Oh,
it
there
out
it
of
is.
the budget?
Okay, I didn't get
You
that
want to
far.
go ahead and budget it under council? or
I
do you
think
want to
so.
leave it out of the budget?
Budget
Yeah, 'cause it's
under
gonna be
council.
needed.
Because I think we're probably going to.
No, we need to budget.
Yeah, it needs to be in there to keep the levy up
Yes.
somewhere.
So we pulled that, and what else?
Yeah, I just heard two things, the performance pool and then the equipment, or the traffic signals,
So we are going to move that.
the 30, not, and we'll leave it at 20.
Leave it at 20.
With the intent of, when the circuit breakers come back, we can,
And there'll
Put
be
it
a
back
whole new
up.
conversation with Andy, and there's with that, we might have to boost that up
Right.
a little more to make more changes, but that's a discussion for a different day. Because I'm like Lisa, I agree, we're going to have to, it is safety, and we need to address it.
question that I had, Lisa, in years past, sometimes we would approve budgets tonight and then, but in actuality, because we haven't heard every department's and all their needs, it almost seems like it's best to say thank you. And he understands our intent.
Absolutely.
We've had our questions answered, and then we'll approve it all at the end if, and any
Take it under
changes,
advisement.
Give us
the final.
Corrected copy.
a corrected copy of the changes
Right.
we're making, of what we're talking about,
That sound
and that'll be what
doable.
we'll address.
Okay.
Is there anything else you needed to bring to?
We're pretty bland this year.
Well, I tell
Bland is
you,
not bad.
I am
No,
going
or-
to give you, Andy, your kudos, because you do work within your budget, and I know Becky really keeps a close eye on everything. And I'm going to tell you, for a person that goes through all the claims, your claims are always spot on. And I also want to applaud you. I think you're about most appreciative department head, and not only that, in the way that you use your department head vehicle. I mean, you are very respectful of taxpayers' money when it comes to that. You drive your own vehicle to and from. You use it during the day, and most of the time, I even see you in your own vehicle when you're on city time, so I just want to give you some
Those
kudos.
times. Thank you.
Thank you, Becky.
Thank you
Have a
all.
good night.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Quick and painless. You have set the standard.
Excellent.
How the rest of
10
this should
minutes.
Tell
go.
them all to get in line.
I hope they watch the recording.
I'm ready to go right into vehicle maintenance.
Yeah.
Keep this ball going since we're a little bit. Debbie, what, do you know what page your vehicle maintenance was on? 10. All right, let me look on this.
On significant changes, line 39,
139.
there's a new employee
Oh,
listed
okay.
as general laborer. That's the
Okay.
main significant change.
Bubby, you've got right below that, the tech went from 25 to 38,000. Emergency equipment install and maintenance tech.
That is Jim Ward, isn't it?
So 29 on this is a new employee.
Yes.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
29.
Yes. The general laborer is a new employee.
It's right below general labor, the new employee you're asking for.
Okay, that was the technician that does all the installs for the police department. Any safety lighting that goes in,
You need a vehicle, right? You need a
I
plug.
mean, how do you jump from
Any
25
department.
to 38?
This is the new, kind of a new position that we,
Thought we hired him
Yeah, that's where
We
Dennis
did.
left,
He
so,
hasn't been hired to, I mean, it's only been several months.
yeah.
I don't know, but his budget, I mean, his salary, I mean, he was hired.
Well, but he probably only had a partial year
They
salary.
only-
yeah, we
budgeted
went
a
with
part
that
of his
one for a
salary.
while.
Yeah.
Okay, so what would that line item have normally, what was the salary for that line item?
The 38,
38,376.
So that is the correct,
yes,
okay, so all you're doing is correcting it,
yes.
okay.
Annualized.
Right. That's a full year.
The new general laborer, what, general?
General labor, clean up, do paperwork. It's going to basically help me keep caught up.
What do we pay off, are we on a capital lease?
That was the truck that I got from the wastewater. It's a truck that I drive.
Okay, okay.
I have a question, but actually it's for Heather, if that's okay.
Okay.
You know how sometimes we get these figures and they're a little behind because not everything's been put through? Are these figures up to date, or I guess it,
These are
like the
actual-
activity from 2015, is that the actual figures?
These are the actual figures for the first 6 months of the year.
Okay.
Not as of today.
Okay,
For June 30th.
Because you need to know the, as of today is that one that I gave you.
okay, oh, gotcha, thanks. Okay, Bubby, I have a question, and I'm not badgering you, I just don't know because I see you once a year. So I want to ask some questions. Under the motor equipment supplies, what, is that just everything? Is that like parts, or what is that?
Yes.
It's 150, the amended budget was 150,000.
That's-
Year-to-date, you've spent 56, well, as of June, 56,000.
It's all the parts, supplies that we use,
Okay,
except for tires.
okay,
They're separate.
okay, so that's, I'm just going to write this down so I don't have to ask you. Okay, parts.
That's on everything from the cars up to the triaxle trucks.
Okay. And then the other supplies, is that just like what you need, light bulbs or what? Because that's 60,000 and so far you've spent 12,000. Or is that for cars too? Or is
That's
it
any kind of
building?
shop supply.
That's why I meant, is it just building maintenance stuff to
Right.
keep you going?
Nuts, bolts, that type of thing.
Yeah,
Tools occasionally.
okay. And then under equipment, because we have you at 50,000 and you've only spent 1,600. What is that for?
That is being spent now. I've ordered the body shop, paint booth,
Oh, I remember that.
Paid your vehicle off?
yes, paid my vehicle off with it, and we're gonna do some construction up there. We don't have any place to put the body shop, so the street department's gonna give me 2 bays to put the paint booth in.
Was that the original plan? Because originally it was going to be over here, and then we were going to,
Then
were
the
you
green
going to build
team went
it?
over here, and then originally they were gonna build a building for it. And then they downsized it and didn't do anything when the mayor's changed. And now was gonna come over here. And now I've talked Clark into letting me have 2 bays where he stores his sanitation trucks.
So where are they going to store those?
We're gonna try to move them around somewhere else. We're running out of room up there.
Okay. And then what was the transfer route, Heather, on the last line?
Not reverting for gas.
Oh, okay, that's all I need to know is gas.
Last line, non-reverting.
Okay.
Did you plead your case for the new employee? Did you, I think that's the only thing you have on here. Can you tell us why you're requesting another general laborer?
Well, so I can use them the way I need them, to clean up, wash cars if I need them,
Parts runner?
parts runner, just a lot of different things. If I took 2 days off this month. It came back, took me a week to catch up on paperwork and to know, I had nobody to say, this is what happened. And that's what I want to have, somebody that can do that.
Did we go through the process of the job description and the setting of the rate? Did
We-
go through?
We just went through the general laborer.
The pay grade for a general laborer.
So you just picked that out of what
Yes,
we already had existing?
right.
Okay.
And that's for an office administrator? What is that for? I'm sorry.
General labor.
General labor.
Okay.
Use them where he's needed and
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I don't think that's any, like an emergency pressing thing that will, I don't really know we really addressed employees, but we kind of didn't do any employees this year until after circuit breakers. Unless there's a substantial need or emergency need or, huh?
And that's what we just agreed to. So that goes to the council budget until we go through the breakers, right?
Right.
So that's what you're saying, to put that over in your budget till after the breakers?
Yes. That and your performance increase pool also.
Yeah.
Which is standard.
Council. And they will hold it till like February or March, and once circuit breakers come in, if they don't take too much away from us, you'll get that back.
So the gas looks like, I guess because it's coming down, we're in pretty good shape in gas.
It's still volatile, it's going up and down.
All over the place.
It's down overall, but who knows what's going to happen next month.
Do we have general laborers that make less than $29,000 a year?
I think I went to a general laborer too,
Okay.
because I wanted them to do some office work too.
That's on the pay grid, that's 25%.
Okay. So it's fair, I should put general laborer 2, that's the classification, correct? But just,
So that mid-range, too?
25%.
Not mid-range.
general labor 2. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
I think we're good, thanks.
Call me if you need me.
Thanks
Thank
for
you,
all you
sir.
do, but I know you're on call all the time.
All the time.
Speak up.
So the changes on this one is that we're moving the general laborer to the council's budget, we're moving the performance increase pool to the council's budget, And then are you, moving all but 5,000 of his equipment, or?
Wait a minute, we need to talk about that because we made that mistake last year, remember? We moved money that you needed and you couldn't.
Then I couldn't do anything, I had to come back and ask for more.
And that, well, that was the kind of the point. Everybody had to come back and ask for more who needed
Oh,
it.
what we moved, it affected his day-to-day, put him in a
Right.
bind.
But he only, out of 40, he only spent 1,600 so far.
Oh, you're looking at, oh.
Right.
You're looking at, right, but
Yeah, we've paid
the
off.
body
his vehicle,
shop
and
is
that-
just getting started, and that's where all that money's gonna go to.
What do you mean it's just getting started? He's been up there for years.
Well, I just got the money last year, and then I tried to contract it out, couldn't get anybody to build it, so I contracted with the parts department. Now I ordered I didn't want to order the paint booth before I had a building to put it in.
You're sure you're not gonna order one from Peterbilt that won't fit?
No, I didn't get that one.
I'm just checking.
But with moving that under, we're not putting you in that bind like we did last year.
You're gonna leave me last year I think you left me 10,000 to get started.
And then we've already asked for all of it back.
Right.
Yeah.
Which was the point after the circuit breakers, correct?
Right, but what I'm asking him is, what's a safe number to give him before circuit breakers? Because we ran
He
into that.
can come back in January and ask us. I mean,
Oh.
it's nothing to appropriate and to move it
I'm
up.
following this, help me out here, I'm following it, where he, in 14 was $42,000. In 15, he's asking basically for 8,000 increase, right? You spent $1,600.
No, we spent more than that. We,
Well, I mean,
yeah.
with this-
Well, it should be on
Through
this
June,
page.
through June.
What is this page?
Through June, she said.
What page is he on in here? Because that's what I was
Page
looking.
10.
10?
No, on this form?
I'm getting there, hold on.
Page 10, Heather.
Page 5,
Page what?
5 and 6.
5 and
We're
6?
looking at different reports. Small control.
What report are we looking at now? What are we going to?
He's looking under that other one to see how much.
Appropriations.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And this is equipment.
But I mean, shouldn't the difference from 15 to 16 be $8,000 and not $50,000? That doesn't make sense.
No, I'm not following you with the $8,000.
You
Okay,
started out
so-
with 41,
That was in
That was in 14.
14.
The next column is 2015.
That's what we've already appropriated.
okay,
And the request is
50,000.
16, it's also 50,000.
Let me make sure I'm looking at the right thing. Okay, because I have here on what you've, so help me out. You're on the right page? Current. Current. So we've got the equipment, and I've got it at showing 35,455 for 2015. That was the amended budget.
But also look at the next line down for vehicles, because he paid off his vehicle. So we transferred it from equipment to vehicle, so those two added together is your 50,000.
So I spent 16.
Okay, well, let's just do the equipment right now, cross. So then the period balance, there's,
Spent so far.
so far, he spent 2,520 out of the equipment line, and so he still has a balance of 32,000 in that?
Right, but they just now bought the paint booth. that
The
they-
paint booth itself's 20,000.
Right.
Okay, so you have 12,000 then, left in this.
Right, and then I still
And
gotta
that's-
That's
petition
what I'm
it
trying
off
to
the
figure
building.
out, I'm just trying to get to the bottom number
Okay.
we have.
12,000, hopefully we'll build his booth.
Okay, so you got 12,000 for that, and so then you're going to use that, I'm assuming, the 12,000 before the end of the year?
Yes.
Yes.
So then all this is new money, which is all I was trying to figure out in the first place.
Yes.
Okay.
How much of the new money will be spent on the paint booth, Bubby?
20,000.
No, actually 20 for the booth and then whatever it costs to actually
Right.
convert.
So
the
it looks
two
like
bays.
we've appropriated $100,000 in 2 years.
Right.
Mhm.
And that paint booth's gonna cost 100,000?
No,
20,000.
no, the 50, for 2016, I was looking at upgrading 2 racks and adding a rack.
Okay.
And just,
Remember we did that?
you know, got enough bin that we can use at least one more rack, and then I've got 2 that need to be upgraded.
Okay.
Well, why does the book show 0 on this 15, 16?
A 0% increase.
0% increase.
$0 increase.
You went
Yeah,
from
'cause
50 to
it had-
50.
Yeah.
So we're good then?
Well, the
Right.
question was, are you leaving the whole 50 in, or are you leaving 10?
Can we do what Nathan suggested? What I would like to do is just go through and then we can go back through and look at things to cut later. But right now, the main thing is he knows that we're moving the general labor, we're doing all that stuff, and then at the end, because we've got to listen to everybody to see what they want and then add up numbers and see how far
And
off we are.
likely, we will maybe move some of that 50 to the budget, and then move it back after the circuit
I want
breakers.
to follow suit. If we're going to be consistent, fine. If we're not, say it now. We're not, we can't pander to everybody who walks up here. What are we going to do?
We're not pandering to
Well, let's
anybody.
be consistent.
Well,
That's what I'm saying.
we have been,
Well, that's what we're discussing.
yeah. So, we started off saying that we would like to wait till the end, because Nathan did, because we don't know what
Yeah, but
everybody else is
I think you
asking.
could make a
We can
recommendation
go ahead and, yeah.
of, say, you're gonna keep 20 in there. Make
Right.
that recommendation and then approve them all at the end. But I don't know how you're gonna go back in a meeting and go through all of these budgets.
Right.
That's my
Yeah,
only
because see, we
problem.
didn't leave enough in there, and then we ran into that right in the beginning of the year. They immediately had to come back because we didn't leave enough in there.
Well, but I think that was your question to Bubby.
That was my question.
Yeah.
But I don't think,
It wasn't answered.
it wasn't answered. We got sidetracked, so.
You see what we're saying? If we left 20 in there,
Right.
would that keep
Would
you from
that be
coming
okay?
in January? It might be March or April.
Well,
That could get
it might be March, April, you know, when I finally decide that this is when we're going to do the racks.
And that's
You know,
fine.
I've got a guy that's coming over and looks at them. He certifies them every year.
Yeah.
And he told me to start thinking about these 2 racks.
Yep, but what
Need to be
Lisa
replaced.
was saying was she didn't want to disrupt your daily operations if we cut that to 20 until the circuit.
No, it won't cut. That's fine.
That's my answer.
That's fine.
Thank
There you go.
So we're gonna,
Right.
Heather, you're following
Yes,
And I just threw 20
Yes.
out.
council.
yes.
Yeah, I'm confused because I thought this money was for the paint booth, so it's not all for the paint
Not
booth.
all
No,
of
for
it.
his
Not
day-to-day.
all of
This
it.
is for next year's.
For the equipment, for the 50,000?
2015 is the paint booth.
Right.
2016 will be the racks and
Gotcha.
other
Right.
equipment that we might need.
So we're gonna leave 20 in there and move 30 to the council till after the breaks. Gotcha.
Yes.
This is why we need to meet with them.
All right, thank you, guys. I appreciate
it?
that.
That's it?
Yeah.
Thank
But
you.
I just wanted to make sure, because I know we had a little bit of a
Thanks,
bind there
guys.
last year. Thank you.
Have a good one.
Because last year we only kept 10,000 in there, and it,
I was just trying to get to
20,000
the
is,
question.
oh, I'm glad you
So,
did, because I was like, oh.
All right, who do we got next?
Yeah, let's see if we can't get some people in here.
I know it's over and done, but I'm confused though, because we left him, you said last year 10 in this,
Right.
and I think you're thinking wrong. I mean, maybe we left him with 10, but it only says he only spent 1,600
Total.
for 6 months. So he didn't need any more money in this account. It must have been another account that we had to replenish, not the equipment.
Well, that's the account that he had said, so,
paid off his vehicle this year already.
But in the first, he didn't do it. In
6:30.
the first 1 or 2 months,
Correct,
he did not.
correct.
And I thought Lisa was under the impression, we were under the impression that he had to come back in January or
Then you wanna
February,
go down
and he
to
needed
10?
more money. That was probably in another line item.
But he didn't pay it off till recently, right, Heather?
Right. In July or August.
They had had it in place.
His vehicle, and that's .003, it's deleted, it's depleted, I mean.
Right.
So that was,
You see what I'm trying to say, Lisa?
I see what you're
That he didn't
saying.
come back in February and say, I ran out of money.
I'm wondering
Not
if
in
it
this-
was-
Not in this account.
I'm thinking it was motor equipment supplies
It
for
was probably,
150,000.
Yeah.
Probably
Because,
it was.
because and that's what I was trying to get at.
I think you're right.
Yeah, because so far this year, he's spent, where is it? Oh, I keep looking at the wrong, vehicle maintenance.
Didn't come back until the finance committee told me about
Well, I don't know what page am I on, 5, 6, she said.
Yeah, that's why it looks the way.
We called somebody to get them in here, the next group.
He waited till he
Oh, 150, he has
Somebody needs to
spent
call Paul.
76,000 so far of this.
Paul,
When we text him,
So he had spent about
otherwise he's not
half,
gonna be back
Yeah.
before 7:30.
I'll text him real quick.
and it's August.
Push everybody up. I don't care if they wait out.
We're going the rest
I
of the
don't
way.
care anyway.
You know, it's better than none of us waiting 45 minutes.
Who's up next?
Paul,
Paul,
Nathan's texting.
Oh, yeah.
And then who's
see, we
next?
had this break scheduled, but I think we tried to squeeze that food in
It's off
earlier
this
and
way.
then it was.
yes.
Might as well while we're here, let's
try
get
what
knocked out.
fun.
Well, the clerk's
You know what,
sleeping.
let's look, since we discussed council, let's go council.
Okay,
Okay.
they were gonna do some more.
It's recording, after you figure it out.
Okay, great.
No, it's still recording, so.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and go through council.
Cut.
That's,
Well, you want me to get the original numbers?
she gave it to
She
us.
gave it to us. What page are we on?
Yeah, but I wanna write it in this book. 'Cause I wanna have
Council.
one book.
Yeah,
And what I do with the ones that she gave us.
One page.
Is that what that extra stuff was that she sent us?
I know, I
What did
can't,
I do with it?
here it is.
Page 7.
Got that, we're looking for the one that
Do
Vicki
we
just
have any
gave us.
significant changes?
Well, the one, no,
increase in-
we kept everything pretty much, what our concern was that insurance piece of it, that we bumped up.
Look, speak of the devil.
Wow, you must have been in the building.
I was. Hannah won't be here. She's coming a quarter after, so I think we can make do.
So let's go ahead and do Paul then?
Yeah.
Vicki said she was going to the bathroom, though. Should we wait on her, or?
No,
She
she
said
said
to
the
have fun.
recorder is running and to have fun.
Okay.
All right, what page?
We could use one of the magicians right now.
Some what?
We could use one of your magicians right now.
Bonkers is on his way.
Page 17.
You wanna tell him the ground rules, Lisa, what we...
Yeah, Paul, kind of consistent as we were last year. You know, in the beginning of the year, we were asking for the department heads to revert back to their 2015 budget,
Okay.
just like we did this year and the year before. We're going to pull 5,000 and above capital expenditures, putting under council, like we did last year. The performance pool under council till after circuit breakers. And then also, any new employees, we're just following in line with everything we did last year.
Okay.
And then, since we've got, kind of like what we're doing is we're taking each budget under advisement and then going through, and then we'll
Okay.
accept it all towards the end.
So the new hires will be after circuit breakers, like last year, right? Okay.
I would just have a caveat. If you have a need for an employee, a new employee in January, before March, when the circuit breaker, when we hear, we need to hear your plea.
We need to hear that.
Okay.
Because we're trying to be consistent, but there may be needs for.
You need grass
for that.
cutters
So,
before then.
Well, and then another thing too, Paul, you made reference in the finance committee, which full council wasn't there. You're in the process of making a decision whether or not you want to budget in 2016 smoking on the river. So that's a decision that you'll be needing to consider too.
Okay. I don't know if what I'm looking at looks like what you're looking at, but you can start wherever you want, and I'll find my way.
Blue book that's up there, or green book?
Book? Mhm.
Green book, we're on page 17.
Okay.
The first thing down is general labor, it's green space, it's 180,000. And I know that's a new number for 2016. I know you're asking for 2 new employees, which are 60,000 total.
Yes.
So that 60,000 is in this 180,000, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so that needs to come out.
So then you're pulling, where's the other 120,000 then?
The other 120,000?
We
Right.
had 180.
There's 180 down. The 2 employees are 60. So there should be 120 that's coming from somewhere else. I notice on general labor, you've just,
General labor 1.
right, you've decreased the budget by almost 78,000. And then there's a maintenance supervisor for 20,000 on down the line. Are those both included in that 180?
Now, I think the maintenance supervisor was mislabeled last year.
Okay,
Maintenance manager now on the next page.
okay.
So we've taken that out and changed to maintenance supervisor. So
Okay,
if I'm reading correctly, general labor, 195, and we've taken out 77,
right.
78. Well, I guess I'm confused about where this 120 we're talking about comes from.
Go up to general labor or green space. See where I'm talking about? It's above the 195.
180,
180,000, right?
you were asking for new, 2 employees and said that that's included in the 180 at
Okay,
30,000 apiece. So then you take out 60, that leaves 120,000.
Right, I think we moved 120 out of general labor 1. See, but last year, everything was under 1, general labor 1. There wasn't a green space maintenance, so there was 272,000 last year.
Right.
And that was for part of the year, not all of the year. So that might be
Oh, okay.
not for the full year.
So that 15 amended was not for a full fiscal year.
Correct.
So that's why we're seeing more of an increase than what was taken out. That makes sense.
Green space didn't get funded until later on.
That's
Makes
right.
sense. So this is 9 employees for green space, is that correct? That's not correct.
No.
That's 6 employees.
Right.
Okay. 6 employees, 2 additional.
Correct.
How do you come up with 6 employees? Where you,
180,000, I just saw that
You're just dividing
60,000,
it by,
oh, you're just
I'm just-
averaging it?
right.
Okay.
60,000 additional was for the 2, so 30,000 apiece.
Okay.
Is what I was going off.
so they're all paid the same?
Pretty much, except for the foreman and the manager.
So then do we want to approve 120,000 there and keep the 60,000 under council?
I'm not sure how we feel about the green team because it's been kind of a failure this year. So I don't know, we've talked about and kicked around trying to get the job description changed so that it actually fits the person and that it needs to be someone who actually has those qualifications that we thought that the person
You're
was
talking
gonna
about the
have.
manager now.
The manager, yeah. So we need to discuss that and what we're going to do.
I guess my question, Paul, just using the green team, what, going down your budget, which line items are green team? In other words, the 185 general labor, 180,000 is part of that team, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, then on the second page, green space manager, that's part of that team, correct?
That is, and then the other person is the foreman, which we already had 2 foremen in the Parks Department. We just moved one from Parks to Parks Green Space. And that would be under
Well, what's this?
crew leader maintenance.
Okay, maintenance manager goes from 25,000, it's up 20,000, what's that?
Well, that was the mislabeling of, well, it's the manager of the maintenance. Can I say names here, or does that matter?
No.
From see the number 236, maintenance supervisor.
236?
Yeah, on the first page.
And 17.
back on, yeah, page 17.
It's the same person, but it was labeled as maintenance supervisor and should have been labeled as maintenance manager to match with the salary ordinance. So halfway
Oh,
through the
gotcha.
year-
So we just moved that 20,000.
236
What they
is
did, this
Wrong
was
title.
non-existent.
That's correct.
That's correct.
That's maintenance
Yeah.
supervisor. Is that it?
yeah, this one was at 45.
Okay.
We were trying to be consistent
Here's
with
the
the
45.
salary ordinance.
Yeah,
So on top of page 18, the green space manager, is that the new manager that was added last year?
That's correct.
Okay.
And the only reason it went down is the budget, 44,000 was an incorrect figure.
Thank you.
What other line items?
So is maintenance manager is that green space or not?
No, it's not. Maintenance manager is the manager of the Parks Department. The maintenance manager of the Parks Department, and the page 18 green space manager, 39,300 requested is the green space manager.
The maintenance, is he the guy who likes to take care of the lawnmower, or that maintains the equipment, or?
The maintenance manager runs the whole maintenance program.
Okay.
But that was an existing position.
That's right.
Right.
He's been in that position for several years.
Okay, what other line items here, Paul, is related to the green team?
The crew leader maintenance, number 202, 411-202, there are two of those, two employees under that line item. One of, they were both Parks foreman last year, or crew, well, we changed the name to crew leader maintenance. They were both under Parks, and the one we just laterally moved over under the green team, green space.
Heather, I'm asking this, if we wanted to do away with the green team, would it be best for you, because there were some positions that were adjusted, would it be best to basically get with Paul and redo this to fit? You see what I'm saying? Because some positions were changed and some were moved and money was moved around. And if you want to do away with that team, it would be best to get with Paul and
Well,
figure out where we were before, prior
it would
to it.
only affect those three lines.
Right.
The 185, one of the 202s,
Yes.
and the 253. And then,
So one of the 202s, so you'd be just down to one crew leader versus...
Well, no, we'd still have two crew leaders. That's in our salary ordinance, just one would not, we'd move him back under Parks.
so that wouldn't be affected by the,
Yeah, dollar-wise, it'd stay the same.
because you would move off that team and put back on the Parks.
Yes.
Just, if I can just make a comment while we're trying to make sausage here. It seems to me, without question, we need to be on top of all our mowing, all our landscaping, like we were 2 years ago, well, 2 or 3 years ago before. It was in separate departments.
Yes.
Which we brought it under one department. There was a concern over the very lead position, not having the credentials, I would say, to adequately maintain different things, such as medians, for example, got totally out of hand. Bioswales got out of hand. And I think the general thought was, well, we tried this, and we tried to have it led by a certain credentialed person, and it wasn't. And it seems to me like regardless, we still need to maintain every bit of that.
Right.
And I'm thinking potentially we say, look, let's relook at that, change the main title from somebody that's got the horticulture license or credentials, because that's not reality right now. And let's redo that position. And
Job
make-
description.
Job description. And make that job description for, we have a green space manager, maybe call the green space manager, change the job description and the expectations, where They don't have to have that horticulture degree. And then potentially, we need to add, I think, maybe some employees to help maintain some things, because we're about to have Big Four come online at some point. Allison Brook, your job is not getting smaller. The mowing is not getting smaller.
That's correct.
I still think it makes a whole lot of sense to have it under one oversight. But to me, instead of scrapping the whole program and going backwards to how we did it before, which we could do that easily, maintain it under one, but redo the job description of the leader and say the leader's job now is to be the crew leader,
No.
to still organize things or whatever they're supposed to organize and do. But the expectation is not to have that same, which I suspect might affect the pay rate.
Right.
It might. I don't know. It's
I'm going to tell you what Ed, because met with him because he couldn't be, you weren't there, because he couldn't be here this evening. He wants the job description changed, but not to remove it and make it less. The person who's over that team needs to know what to do with trees, how to trim the trees, how to do the soil, how to do the plants, how to do the fertilization, and not just weed whack weeds, but you really need to pull them. You need to spray them at certain times of the year. We do not have that leadership right now, and I don't want to go down. We need to go up and make that position a better position, so Paul doesn't have to be over it like he's had to be this last year.
I think what you're saying, Nathan, is, and what
Add
Connie's
someone.
saying, you hire a professional to help you in the green space management, but you're gonna take Paul's guys and go back to take care of what we used to take care of.
yes, I am. But Connie is right. I think she heard me right. To me, I think the current administration is interpreting what we want as what we have now, and that's not what we want.
No.
And so,
Yeah, I don't think that's
even
true.
if we tighten it up, it's still, we don't do the hiring. And so, that's why I'm just saying, we got to make sure and cover all the bases with mowing and having it done right. I just think if we're not going to get that key position, then we ought to have it relooked at and not pay for the key position if that's not what we got.
Well, that's not what you got, but the problem is, most of these, a lot of departments as drainage, they already started maintaining and taking care of the bioswales.
Their own.
Pretty much the departments have taken back their
They're taking
responsibility.
back their
Streets
own.
doing all theirs. I talked to Clark. I mean, I don't know if that's changed since I talked
See, I
to
don't
him.
disagree that you should hire a professional to help oversee the mechanics of this, if you will. But Paul needs to have the people in his budget to go back to taking care of
To
his
actually
green
doing it.
space.
Right.
Because
Our part.
Now, we need to talk to Scott because redevelopment's not going to be paying for Big Four, according to the state Supreme Court. We're going to have to do that.
The marina.
We're going to have, or the marina, and actually River Stage, first 8 years that I was on the council, city didn't pay for that, redevelopment did, and they came in and took care of it and was done by Walnut Ridge.
Plus, Connie, just one thing.
Don't let me forget because I'm old and I forget where I am very easily.
Well,
You
okay,
said
I'm
that, not
older,
me.
but $35,000 a year was generated in boat dock rental, and that boat dock rental helped offset the cost of the River Stage
I'm
maintenance
already
that
gonna
you're
forget.
talking about.
Okay.
That's all one.
All right, so are we going to, and this is something that might not have been thought about in your budget, I don't know, I haven't looked at yet. I don't think the parks can take care of the Big Four station, and I think that it needs to be contracted out. That's something we need to look at, to do the maintenance on that, because we've got too many other parks, and they've not been doing it this year, it's been contracted out, correct?
Correct.
And I think if we contract out that, also, the river stage and the riverfront needs to be contracted out with the same people, because that used to be contracted out, and it was taken, no offense to your people, but it was taken better care of under previous administrations. Because of landscaping we had put in at that time when all that was done. And that would take a load off you. You're already not going to be doing the medians. We have that contracted out. The bioswales are contracted out. So now you're just going to have the parks because the street department is still cutting the roads. You all aren't doing that.
We're
So-
not. And you're right, this year,
Bioswales out.
Right.
you're right. And I would like to see us go back to the green team next year, but a smaller version of it without the bioswales and the 10th Street medians. Well, 10th Street medians are going to have grass in them, so we're going to have to cut those. But all of those street department properties, we would like to take on We've taken back the fire department and the police department we've been doing, so we're going to be doing a portion of what we originally started, plus the entrances, which I know most of the city entrances are under construction, but once they get completed, we're going to take over those entrances. So I still think we want to do the plan with the median, or with the 10th, or excuse me, with the green team, but it's not the full-blown that we tried to do this year.
So basically, you just want to hire grass cutters.
Yes, I mean, that's mainly grass cutters and people who know,
You
But we still
contract
have
out Big
landscaping,
Four
and
a couple
that's
of
not
them,
it.
basically
We still
all
have
they're gonna do is
landscaping in the
cut grass.
park.
You may not be able to do it.
right,
You just may not be able to do it.
Yeah,
Do what?
because we still have landscaping in the parks. Lisa and I went to Vissing Park, it looked horrible. Not recently.
Not
I don't know
recently,
what it looks
I know,
like
it
now.
took some time to us to get where,
When they're cutting grass, they don't have the time to do that landscaping piece
Well,
of it.
but when they did the landscaping, they didn't pull the weeds, they just whacked them down. So, in 2 or 3 days, the weeds are back up. They didn't get sprayed and they didn't get pulled.
So is that a specialty service?
Well, evidently, they don't know that they need to pull the weeds and just whack them down. I mean, that's something that needs to because it's nice landscaping if there's not weeds in it.
well,
Or
I
it needs to
think
be sprayed.
just to clarify, they have been spraying the weeds. They haven't just been weed whacking them and putting mulch on top of them. They've been spraying them and then mulching and then going back every couple weeks. This is Bob Hedge, Vissing, Worley, Warder. They've been going back and checking the weeds. So they haven't just weed whacked them.
And
Well,
Paul,
when I saw them, they had just weed whacked them.
and
so
I think
that-
it's
but that's
important,
several
I think
months.
it's important to say, it was mentioned earlier that the green team had been a failure, and I don't think that's an accurate statement.
I agree.
Once the green team finally got organized and going, our parks have improved dramatically.
Thank you.
The medians, no, never did, but the parks have improved dramatically.
Oh,
And
it's-
if you go to Worley and if you go to Vissing and some of the others, you'll see that.
I've been going to Whirling, been going to Vissing, been going around to all
Yeah.
of the
I
parks.
have too.
So let me,
But
let
there's
me
still
ask
landscape.
ask the question. We're talking about knowing how many people, and where they slotted, things like that. We need to have we need to come to consensus and maybe get with Paul's input as well, but on, do we want the professional at the top, or do we want a manager, crew leader, whatever, to oversee the whole thing that schedules, okay, this gets mowed here and does the actual layout of the schedule? And it seems like we want to make a change, but what change do we want to make? And I don't even know if we know where we are on that. And we need to get to that point. They don't have to tonight, but we need to get to that
I
point.
think one thing, Nathan, and we're assuming, and we don't know what's going to happen, but the Big Four is going to be handed to us, okay? Big Four is already contracted, right? So when it gets handed over to the parks, basically that contract is void. Would you say that's a fair statement?
Well, not necessarily. The contract isn't void just because it's handed over.
Well, but redevelopment's paying for it now, so it's coming out of a totally different fund.
I mean, that doesn't mean the contract's void. Depending upon
Well,
how-
if they sign the contract.
And they're no longer taking care of it.
Handed us to us, then.
If redevelopment's signed a contract,
Well, not getting into a big legal argument, but regardless of what fund, I mean, when someone signs a contract for a time frame, there's a reliance by the other company that the contract is valid for that time period, and just because there's a says this board can't pay for it, it's still a city contract, the city's gonna have to fulfill that contract. Most
So, Matt,
contracts
how
are
long was it
year-to-year
done for?
basis,
I don't know.
I don't know when those contracts expire.
Oh, that's right, they come
3
before the Board of
years.
Public
I
Works.
thought it was 2 years,
It
but
was redevelopment. So a contract signed by the Board of Redevelopment that the Supreme Court says now they don't have the authority to sign such contract, we have to still,
Adhere
I think
to
there's
it?
a
Here to
good
that?
argument that because the city, the redevelopment was the board or commission that falls under the city. I think there's an argument that, if this is kind of the other company wants to push it and have that contract fought over to fulfill it for the entire term, I think there's an argument that the city will still have to fund that contract.
but is it a good argument?
Did he ever-
Can you argue against it and win?
Did he ever file his form that he was supposed to file?
Yes.
He did?
Well, here's my point, Dave, getting back to your thing. We got two, maybe three parks, but we got two new parks that we have never really dealt with, and they're gonna be expensive parks. One is a Big Four. No matter who gets it, whether we get the contract or new contract, okay? That's $250,000 a year. Riverfront down there, I don't know what it's gonna cost, but it's gonna be huge because when the water goes up and down, it flooded in July, the middle of July this year, which is unusual, but it flooded. That means we're gonna have to pay to go down there, and Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, because you're on the river, we're gonna have to pay to go down there, all them sidewalks, we had that much silt brought in the middle of July. All that silt, every bit of that's gonna have to be clean, washed, lumber, trash,
We don't even know
etc.
the maintenance.
I think that maintenance is gonna far exceed Big Four.
And real quick, I'm gonna go back to Matt's point real quick. The decision wasn't that a redevelopment commission or any funds can do maintenance, it's only TIF funds. So technically, a redevelopment commission can still sign contracts for maintenance if the funds are non-TIF funds. That's the
What?
issue, you can't use TIF funds.
But they-
It's still a redevelopment commission or redevelopment board.
What,
So,
but what,
Cassie.
what funds do they have?
well,
That's how they pay.
my point is getting,
It's
without
Cassie.
getting into all the legalities of it, they still have the ability to sign such a contract. So then the argument is that the city would have to put in money, to find other funds to fulfill that contract. It's just the opinion, it's just they can't use TIF funds, not that the redevelopment commission can't sign a contract.
Gotcha.
So there's a legal distinction.
That's good clarity, thank you.
Yeah,
That's
I
good.
mean, a lot of people forget that.
Well,
It's till 2017, 2015, 16, and 17.
Yeah, I thought it
Obviously, you
It's,
go to the other side of the contract and try to.
And it's 130 a year.
Release
That
it.
doesn't include, that's just cutting and trimming, that doesn't
And who's
include
that with?
the water feature.
which is,
Oh, they do landscaping?
Mm-hmm.
but it's just not the Big Four. I think this one is also.
Well, you would think the hammerhead would be more willing to negotiate.
That includes downtown, Spring Street.
Yeah.
Since he's actually.
Yeah, they got a lot that they do.
Okay.
But my point is, we've got the Big Four station
oh,
and the marina, and Steve, jump in here. In the middle of July, we had that much silt. Okay, that's gonna have to be scraped and cleaned and washed. It's gonna cost more, in my opinion, per year for the marina, and the marina has absolutely no income.
the city doesn't know how to do that. What they'll do, they'll dump, just like Louisville did, they'll dump it right back into the docks, then you gotta pay someone to clamshell it out. I mean, all these new projects, I think it'd be a good idea if, like all these new projects, like the Big Four, the marina, if we just get bids on these new projects, like 3 bids, and then we can sort of get an idea for 1 year to see how that works. And then next year, you've got a basis to what you feel like the Green King can do it or not do it, you know, and get
Right.
individuals out there.
I have a question. I'm sorry, but this goes back to the marina. Redevelopment's developing that, obviously. So if they sign a contract with someone to maintain that, they have to take it out of their regular budget and they can't use TIF dollars for it. Or they have to come to the council and say, now we have to fund it.
Yeah, yeah.
And or to the parks and say, we have to fund it. And then we get to go through the contracting process.
Cassie.
Well, when we say go through the contracting process, we just fund it, we're not a contract, well, parks.
Parks.
I thought you were about the county.
No, parks. I said the Parks
The
Authority.
parks can.
Yeah.
How much is Cassie revenue here? Ballpark.
It's 18,000 a month, I think, isn't it, Nathan?
I was gonna say 16.
Well, that's not gonna pay for Big Four.
I say they use that for their operating.
Yeah.
But I'm saying we're gonna be strapped with a challenge with 2 parks. And I think Vissing Park is as premium, however, it's got a little age under it. But you got 2 premium parks that are within a rockful of each other, you're gonna spend 500,000 plus. And it's gonna be handed to you, say, here you are, boys.
I don't disagree.
And I don't think the Parks Department, in all fairness, and I agree with Steve, especially next year, it's gonna take a while to get under your belt what this is gonna entail, especially the marina. The marina, if the water stays stable, it's not too bad, but it flooded in the middle of July, which it normally doesn't do, but if,
You'll have years where
you're
it's
gonna have a
not.
week's worth of cleanup down there, just moving silt and crap.
Those docks will be gone next year, I assure you, if we have the same year.
Yeah, he said the way that they're proposed, it's
Well,
not gonna last.
I guess we're at the limit here because we want to, I'm kind of listening, we want to restructure the green team, but to be honest with you, we don't hire. And the problem we've got is we got a $500,000 unknown.
correct me if I'm wrong, we can, can't the council can contract?
No.
I mean, well, the parks can contract. If you get, then you can control it. I mean, you get an idea of what's gonna cost. But if you rely on the green team to always hire everybody, you're gonna be fighting this.
No, that's what
Every
we're
2
talking
weeks.
about.
Every
We
2
can't,
weeks
We
we'll
don't
be
want to
fighting.
we
fight
can't.
this, Steve.
Yeah, I
No.
agree, that's all I've ever heard all those years, this green team, green team. It's just
Well,
gonna be a
we're not
nightmare.
talking about the green team here. We're just saying
Well,
all this stuff needs to be
if it's-
contracted out.
if it's
Is what
gotta
we are
take care of
saying.
This is a specialty.
No, it would have to be contracted out.
It's a specialty, and, we didn't build the parks, however, we inherited the parks.
Yeah.
You didn't buy the new car, but I handed you the keys with the payment book. And so that's in essence, and we are going to have to figure out how we're going to do this because there's
So-
$7 or $8 million, maybe $8 million spent on 2 parks with no revenue to clean them up.
So it seems, what I'm hearing is, we need to address the manpower necessary to get all the mowing and the landscaping done. We call that the green team. That's one issue we have to
And this
determine
is
the
another
direction.
one.
Then what is not in here, I don't think, is quotes for maintaining the Big Four Park, the marina, and anything else. And so we probably need to ask Paul to get quotes for maintaining the marina and that, because that needs to go on this budget.
Right, it does.
Yeah.
Which is not, is that what I'm hearing? There's
That's what, yeah.
a
Can
couple
you-
different issues there.
What about, okay, and I'm going to ask is Vissing Park, do we need to do that too? If it's
Well-
not kept up nice, what do we want to do with
Here's
that?
what's going on at Vissing Park, because I had a conversation with Ricky Romans and the Parks Advisory Board. Unfortunately, that was when Paul was sick. Glad you're better. Do you remember when we did the Vissing Park? We had 2 employees in Vissing. 2 full-time employees, that was Vissing. When we brought Worley on, one of the employees moved to Worley, correct, Paul?
Yes.
Soccer field. Well, the one employee that's at Vissing, that's kind of how things kind of fell behind because he was so busy keeping the fields up. He was doing the fields at Vissing Park and he was also doing the fields at our GRC Park, Worley Fields there. So between doing those 2 fields, trash is a full-time job, the landscaping, I think that's how we kind of had Vissing Park kind of fall back on because we didn't have those, when we approved it and we planned it, for 2 employees to be up there, and we don't have that.
They're there, but they're just doing other things too.
Right,
They're doing
right.
Worley, the Little League ballpark.
They won't-
Spread thin.
But we've also
Right,
put
they're
2 seasonal people, I know they're going back to school now, but 2 full-time and 2 seasonal have been taking care of those 3 parks pretty much all summer.
Right.
Now that Little League is done
I
and
think that's a pretty big, that alone in itself needs to, I don't know if that's a meeting some of us need to have with Paul and maybe, this is going to be a meeting.
Sorry, Paul, we're not trying to make you feel bad.
No, no,
You're going to be
you're
so
fine.
busy.
We're just trying to get you the help that you need to get,
and I
We're
appreciate
trying
that.
to figure it out.
and do it before the spring comes.
Yeah.
Are we assuming then that the park department is going to cut the medians on 10th Street?
Well, that's probably going to fall back on the street department now. If we still have a green team or a green space maintenance and you're okay with us taking all those over, but that was part of why I'm asking for 2 new employees for the green team to help cut the grass. I mean, we still have all these landscaping issues. Half of our, well, not half, 6 or 8 of our parks have extensive landscaping that need time, not just weed eating, grass cutting. So, like Nathan said earlier, I'm asking for 4 new employees. I need 2 new employees. I mean, we talked about this in 2013. Vissing Park was just being built, and I said, when this park gets on, we're going to need some help. Well, we didn't get help because I didn't ask for it then. 2014, Worley came on and never asked for any help. And now I'm saying, with everything we've got, we need at least 2 employees as soon as possible. I mean, early spring.
Did you,
Did you say 4?
yeah, did you say you asked for 4 in here? Or
Yes.
just 2?
4.
Where are the other 2?
We're only seeing 2.
Yeah, you got a total of 6.
There's 2 here. There's the 6 that you have and 2 additional.
Okay, I want to go back to the marina for a minute. Sorry, Matt.
I know.
This is a time to
I
discuss it.
know, it's,
Well, it's
I'm gonna wait till he gets done
Parks,
though,
we
so,
got a
because
lot under
he's
parks
old
now.
too. I might forget where he's at.
We're not going, the problem is, we don't have parks, like trim and mow grass.
It's
We have
more
a lot
involved
of
than that.
landscape.
See,
A lot
the
of-
thing that concerns me is we had people from street department and drainage that were, quote, on the green team.
But they never,
We never
And-
moved their
and-
payroll.
Well, when we do the budget, if we go to the green team, then we need to truly give them what they need and
Right.
either take it away from the other
Or just make it an additional.
or make it additional. Yeah, because
what are you talking about? Take it away.
I'll just example, street department. If the street department said, I'm gonna give 2 of my employees to the green team,
Uh-huh.
well then, we ought to move those 2 under Paul.
No.
And if not,
Then we should just
then
give
what
Paul
are
the
they
2.
doing? They're not doing what they used to do, not mowing. I mean, maybe there's plenty of work to do, but we just need to clean it up.
The street department, if you remember when Chief Miles, Clark Miles came in here.
Oh, that's okay.
He said, it depends on who's out that day because he has to use his extra people. His people are still working.
Yep.
I'm not going to punish the street department because they didn't put people over. There was a couple weeks there, or a couple months when he had
I'm not talking
16
about
people out.
Right.
So they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. They cannot turn people over, and I understand that completely.
I agree. So I think we ought to still go ahead and, make sure that we're giving him what he needs too, though, since he's
Right.
not getting those people from the street department.
Well, and what we found is the 2015 amended budget was 272,995. If you add the 195 and the 180, that's 375,000. So I know it's a little off of our average of 30,000, but there's a little over 100,000 added to our budget for employees, and that, I figured it as 4 at 25,000 a year.
So there's 2 in the green space and 2 in the 198.
So,
Okay,
yeah,
so there's 2 more in the general laborers.
Okay.
And what time frame are those guys hired at, or women?
February, March would be the best time to hire these guys, in
And
my
they're going to
opinion.
be full-time, I mean, they will work them full-time for,
Yes,
Until
okay,
September?
not like seasonal employees.
No.
They'll be regular employees.
they would be full-time employees.
Okay, when we're done with this, I want to say something about the marina again, but let's finish up this first.
So one thing I think, Paul, we're asking, or I'm asking, is if we can get quotes for contracts on the marina
Mhm.
and Big Four Bridge, station,
And Riverfront.
and the riverfront area. Anything else? Because those, we know most likely are going to fall at our feet. Although they don't have to, because redevelopment does have dollars that are not TIF dollars. But if they come to us in 16, as we think they probably will, then we need to at least have it in the budget to show that we can pay for that. And if we can't, we need to cut something so we can afford that.
And in my opinion on the marina, there's 2 different types of work down there. There's the docks and the cleaning up the docks, and then there's a landscape on that hillside. I don't think a company that does dock cleaning and repairs would be the same one that does landscaping. So I would think you'd need
I don't
2
think
different
we
quotes
can
for that.
get on Marina yet because it's 60% complete or whatever, and the landscaping, none of that's even done yet. They just poured sidewalks. So until they get that terraced or whatever, it would be hard, I think, for somebody to,
Don't
They
we
can
need to
look at
put
the
a number in though?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
keep
we've
in-
got to put a number
Keep
in.
in mind, though, we're talking about the marina, but we also have Duffy's Landing that's getting all new green space and...
Yeah, I mean, it's mainly grass. There's not a lot of landscaping
Come
up
on,
there.
too.
Duffy's is mostly mowing, isn't it?
It's mowing, yeah, a little,
Field.
yeah, there's not much landscaping, but way back when this was still a parks, and remember, this isn't parks anymore, it's redevelopment, we were taken out of it, so we had talked to a few people about a yearly contract where they would come and remove debris as needed. A couple times a month, they would do it. They would also be on call if we woke up on a Monday morning and there was a tree sitting on somebody's dock, we could call them, they'd come down and remove it. So weekly cleaning or monthly cleaning and on-call cleaning. So I have talked to one person about that 2 years ago. I'll reach out to 2 more, and we'll get 3 quotes on it.
Yeah, because I don't know how many times this year when I went by Duffy's, it was flooded and it left all that mud and the debris, the trees and everything.
Yep.
So you're talking, that's the maintenance I'm talking about with Duffy, not just mowing some grass, but that whole new.
And I don't want to get off on another subject, but talking about Duffy's, we spent almost $50,000 on dredging at Duffy's this year. That's not in our budget. We go to all of our different line items, we're like, can we take 10,000 here and 20,000 here? And
It has to be.
it's one of those things that, we've done every other year. We didn't do it last year, and first part of this year, we got the calls saying, hey, you got to get down there and clean this up. So, and I've addressed that in here. In other line items, I've asked for more money, and that's one of the reasons, so.
Okay, but when you know that we might need that, you really need to make a line item so we know exactly how much money we're spending on something.
Yeah,
Instead of taking it from other line items, because then we never really have a true figure.
I agree.
So, but now we'll go back to the marina, because you said something about the docks, that they probably won't be there, I guess because of all the debris that comes in and tears them up?
He said they won't.
Okay, which goes to our question previously, when the people had to build and maintain their own docks, because now we've got taxpayers that are going to have to pay to repair the docks, and I bet you 90% of our taxpayers don't even own a boat. So how often, if that happens, I won't be here, but when that happens, you all have to figure out how many times are you going to replace the docks before.
Well, these will be
you
transient
do something
docks,
else.
so there will be
I know,
hours there.
but how, well, but,
Except for the weekenders.
but you're still going to have to replace them when they get broken. How many times are destroyed? How many times are you going to do it?
Sometimes you can get by with 4 years straight, but Mother Nature's the only one that knows that,
Yeah.
Sometimes it's, I have to change them twice a year.
There's no way.
Yeah. You can put a breakaway, I haven't seen the layout, but you can put a breakaway that keeps some of that debris out of there.
Well, that you have to go through the Corps for, and that takes a while to do.
That was taken off the plan.
Yeah.
Floating breakaway, even if
No,
it's like
well, the
50
jetty
foot?
was taken
The
away.
jetty was.
Yeah, I don't know if a floating, breakaway, you
Yeah,
need a
it was
permit
taken
on
off
that.
the plan.
For the sake of moving us along a little bit in time, Paul's going to get us some contract figures that we can put in the budget or look to discuss, whatever, maybe as a placeholder. And seems like we need to talk a little bit about the green team, how it's going to be manned or whatever. And frankly, I would like for Ed, he's president of the parks, I'd
Right.
like him to be part of that conversation.
Absolutely.
So if we take those 2 issues and kind of shelve them and let Paul work on that, we'll get with Ed and have him work on that with Paul and some of us or you guys. Can we go over the rest of the stuff, see
Yeah.
if there's any issues, and then we can call it a night?
We might have to have you come back, Paul.
Sure.
To talk about that.
Can I make a comment before we move on to the other stuff? Because I have some answers to some of your questions.
Okay.
In edit, on page 33, there's 300,000 that was put into the budget as a placeholder for repairs and maintenance for those types of issues of the redevelopment thinking that they're going to have them come over to the council's budget. So it was put into edit, it was not put into the parks. It was not put into
That's
the-
new
That
this
would be
year,
the mayor's
done
budget, so
by-
we'll have to look at that because we
Okay.
do that. That might not stay.
Where's that at?
And-
Page 33.
Edit.
I mean, what part of it though?
Edit.
Where it says no department repair and maintenance, 300,000,
Okay.
so that's where that is in there. And then also,
Yep, take all of our edit.
Kelly got some information for, the season's been very small so far, so it's just estimated numbers for the rest of the year. Security pros at Allison Brook, Big Ford Station, and Big Ford Bridge runs about $1,000 a month. Indian American Water runs about $4,000 in the summer months, and then about $500 a month in the winter months. And then we've got electric, somewhere between $1,200 to $1,500 a month. Hamhead is $7,300 a month. And then there's for security. In the summer months, it's $12,900, and then the winter months, off-season, is at $4,000 a month. So she's averaging somewhere around $244,000 for the year.
Why is the mayor taking?
There could be all kinds of fluctuations within there, that's why we put
That car,
$300. Well, then,
that car.
Is that
but
right?
it did not address any of the marina or
So right at
Yeah.
250 for Big Four ballpark.
250, well, 250 to, I mean, it could be 400,000.
Do we have a copy of whatever it is that you have?
I can get you.
Okay.
I like that too, because the marina is going to be,
Yeah,
If
the
you
marina's
look
not included.
okay, but if you look at that, you're talking about security, you're talking, you know, it's going to be that,
Yeah, and it
you're
doesn't.
$500,000 for 2 parks, I mean ballpark. Wow.
Yeah.
Because that whole wall from the launch all the way to Jeff Bowden's terraced and landscape budget.
How do you, how wide is that? Anybody know how wide that is to
The
get?
wall,
No, those terraces to where you got a clamshell there and shovel it out. Because Duffy's, they bring in
This one.
dump trucks, they bring in, they shovel that all out, don't
yeah,
they?
you can't
That's
push it
what we
in the
gotta
river.
skip
You gotta-
there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
but-
don't let you.
I realize that, but
Yes,
can you even get to those terraces? How you do
This is
Duffy's?
what's being proposed.
I think you'd have to do it off a barge.
Yeah, well, they've got a big, there was a crane down there with a big, long arm that reached.
I'm talking about just getting the mud off.
You talking about the marina?
Just getting the mud off the side or the
Yeah,
pavement.
Duffy's a lot easier than that.
Yeah.
Terrace. That's Riverline.
So I guess moving out of the employees and into the supplies and contracts and things like that, I guess we'll start there.
The performance pools, you know, get pulled out.
Performance increase is removed.
Oh, Matt left.
I
Okay.
don't know, I skipped, I'm trying to, okay. We're on
That on
page.
Right.
Facebook. Come on.
What page is it Parks on? Because I clicked.
We're at page 18.
17, 18.
We just, yeah, I think we just finished 17.
Okay.
He's on shift, so.
Your other supplies, Paul, went from 78 to 123. What is that?
Right. Well, I mean, we pay a number of things out of that. Easter holiday supplies, we've spent some at Hoosier Hardware to paint the gazebo at Water Park, playground equipment and repairs on playground equipment. So, I mean, you could see we spent as of June 30th, 48,000, almost 49,000, and we have 78 in the 2015 budget. So we've asked for more to cover those extra supplies. Nevco scoreboard at the Little League, repair the restrooms at the Little League.
Well, them three line items, professional services, other
Oh, gotcha.
structural contracts all went up pretty drastic, didn't they?
They did. Professional services, we pay security pros out of. The Parkland HR for HR, Human Resources Services. K4 Security has been taken out of professional services. We paid Red Wing to do some work up at Vissing Park. And then contractual services, we also paid K4 Security out of that. Covert Hawkins contracts, that's where we took the Duffy's dredging money out of. So that, like I said, that was 50,000. So we've asked for an additional 67 under contractual services, mainly to cover the extra dredging. Now, if we want to pull that out of there and just call it dredging or start a new name for it, I don't know how you want to handle that. If you want to put it under professional or have its own line item.
I think kind of what Connie had said, it needs to be its own, so we can
We
keep
just-
track of it.
Better keep track of it.
Yeah. It's hard to know when everything's lumped under, I almost wish it could be like an outline. You got professional services, this one is for security pros, this one's for this. We need a breakdown of this stuff so we know exactly what this money's being spent for.
We can follow it. so-
Yeah, because I don't know. And, you know, do the people who work in your office, I mean, which one did you say came from Easter?
The other supplies, yeah, and not only Easter, but all of our holiday decorations. That's something that, you know, we take out of wherever we can find money for Christmas lights. Every year at Water Park, we have to buy almost 100%, I'd say probably 90% new because they just don't last
Right.
more than a year. And then the lights on the snowflakes on Spring Street, those bulbs, we have to order thousands of them every year because they burn out.
Right.
So holiday,
I would like that broken down too, because I think what is happening, like with Easter and with all this stuff, because we've had to put money into parks because stuff gets spent, and then you're, not you, but over budget.
Sure.
And then we have to try to move things out of other line items to put in here to cover parks. I want people to know, look, for Easter, you've got this much money to spend. That's all you got. Just because there's more money in that line item doesn't mean it's there for you to spend. You've got, I don't want to say a number because it
I
might be
understand.
too high, but you've got $5,000. That might be way low. I don't know how much y'all spend. But if they spend over that, they need to come and get an appropriation.
Well,
And
and
they
that
need to
would-
explain themselves why they're going over.
but that's
what
just
they
it. With
need.
holidays, we don't have separate line items. We've never have, so we've always had to just pull it wherever we can find the money.
Yeah.
So if
Then we need to give you a
if
holiday
you're saying
line item.
we have a holiday line item, and then under that is Easter, Halloween, Christmas,
Right.
Hanukkah.
That way you're not
Fine,
doing this
whatever.
seek and find through your budget all
Hey,
the
Paul, do
time.
the seek and find, put it in a thing we'll call a holiday.
You got it.
That's what you're going to do. Because you can't keep creating
Yeah.
line items and adding to
You're making it harder on yourself, trying to find stuff from other line items. That way, if it gets there, we know you need it, and we know what it's being spent for, and you know what you have, Sarah knows what she has.
Right.
And it just works better for everybody.
Paul, under equipment, about the fourth one from the bottom on page 38, or 18 rather,
Mhm.
the additional, any pieces of equipment you're specifically thinking about, or just upgrading general equipment?
Upgrading some mowers that are getting old. Weed eaters, we replace those every year, but mainly mowers. We purchased vehicles last year, so we're in good shape on vehicles. 2 years ago, we purchased a couple, not sport utility vehicles, but off-road vehicles to use at the Bissing Park and at Worley. So it's mainly mowers.
Thank you. And the transfer out, Heather? The 500,000, where does that go to? Thank you.
What was it last year?
400, went up 100.
Well, we hope to offset that with our sponsorship program. I know we talked about that. Our goal is 200,000. We're going to fall a little short on that this year. We're about 70,000 this year. And but again, it was because, companies put their contracts and their sponsorships together in the fall, and we started in the winter. So I think and Dave has already done a great job working on 2016. And like I said, he expects to make over 100,000 or to bring in over 100,000 this year. But hopefully next year we can get closer to our $200,000 goal.
Okay, I'm just going to state this again, because it's the last time you'll have to hear me say it, is I know the mayor touts, free stuff on the river and all that stuff. When Louisville does it, when New Albany does it, there's a fee to pay to get in. And when we have Jeffersonville Goes Country, everyone could spend $5 to get in to hear a major country artist that you would have to pay $80 to $100 over at the Yum Center to go see. They do it up at the fair when they pay $18 a thing to get their kids into the rides. $5 is nothing to help us offset the cost that goes down on the river.
Well, we're gonna have to offset, keep in mind, because we don't wanna use all of our gaming on River Stage this
No.
year, because we have other things we need to look
Yeah.
at for that.
I think you could offset that, because like in Chicago and stuff, they charge like $400 a boat for the weekend. And even in downtown Louisville, they do bids out for like Thunder, and I've heard as high as $10,000 some people pay for that.
Yep. But, getting people to pay for that stuff down here, they think it's too much. But when we
Well,
dealt
you
with
just
Thunder
do a
many years
bid.
ago,
You do a bid out, there'll be some people.
they tried to cut it last year. But actually, we ended up doing okay. So, the other thing that I would suggest, and I'm just going to let y'all know my feelings on this, and that's okay because I've let you know before, is when we have the face painters and we do this, and I understand for Steamboat Days, they're charging a band, right, for the kids to get in?
Yes,
Thank you.
Anybody,
I was not there.
not
Lisa
just
said
kids.
I'm channeling Connie.
not just
So-
kids, anybody.
Anybody who wants to go in there. So there is going to be a charge for that, which is awesome to help offset those costs.
Yeah.
But whenever we have bands down on the river, those people who come down who do the face painting should be paying the city a fee to be there, and they should be charging the kids who want to be face painted. That should not be a free thing. And that's that's what they do everywhere else. It's this, I don't know why in Jeffersonville we're afraid to do things to try to help ourselves. Because there's going to come a point, and you all know this, I've said it before, we moved so much money into parks last year for the free activities that were not free, close to $500,000. Eventually we're going to have to start cutting stuff, and I would hate to have to do that. Oh, I won't, because I won't be here. But I would hate for somebody on the council to have to do that.
So for Fund 204, Parks and Recreation, do we have any more questions, clarifications? I show we've asked for 4 new employees. I show that we're asking, or Paul's going to try to get quotes on the Big Four, the river stage area, and the marina contracts for maintenance on that, or at least some type of a number that we can plug in here. I do know that I heard that we have money coming out of edit, but I'm going to question that.
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
think
gonna question
it should
that
come
too.
from edit.
Yeah.
So we need to get those prices or quotes. Anything else on here? Because I just realized Paul has it.
The performance pool.
Comes out.
Okay, performance
Now, the
pool.
employees, they will be held until 2016 at the circuit breakers like everybody else?
Well, I think we said with him being the exception, because they have to start cutting grass before then. They've got to get started. If we wait, I think he should be able to come back in January and February and say, hey, I'm going to have to hire these employees at this time, or he's going to be behind just like he was this past year. And then and that puts pressure on Paul that he should not be under, in my opinion.
Well, we're not approving them tonight.
No, we're not. But he did say, when he first started speaking, if he could come back in February or January, February to say, look, I'm going to have these people hired by this date.
And then we're also going to try to get Paul and Ed and whomever Ed wants to go with him to try to address the green team setup or the layout of how that's going to be going forward. Is that correct, how I summarize that? Okay.
Yes.
We keep 209?
Well, most of the increases there are based on what we've purchased or what we've spent so far this year. Building materials, $8,500 in 2015. As of June 30th, we'd spent $7,700 of that, so we've asked to increase that $6,500. Same thing with other supplies. We spent $33,000. We've got $7,000 left in there, so we've asked for a little more there.
Okay, which page?
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm on Aquatic Center. We're on 209,
Okay, I went to
page 19,
Okay.
Aquatic Center.
Do you know if there's going to be any maintenance issues with the pool? I mean,
That's a good point. I mean, you can see we spent $91,000 on improvements, and a lot of that was cracks in the pool and some of the kid feature repairs. I don't foresee any major repairs to the pool next year. I don't see us using nearly that amount of money on improvements.
Keep us moving.
Ice rink,
Materials and supplies, you go up 6,500.
yes, sir. Well, we've spent,
Almost double, it looks like.
right, we had an $8,500 allowance or budget for that. We've already spent $7,700 as of June 30th. So basically, based on that reason, we've spent most of it. Supplies is, a lot of it is the cost of the chemicals for the pool. And if you remember last year, we had duck problems. We had to purchase a special chemical to help take care, keeping the ducks away, and it worked. We didn't have any duck problems this year, but our chemicals went up, and that's a big part of that 6,500. The ice rink looks like, well, it jumped up because of the rental payment. It wasn't in there for 2015, but we put it in there. Pardon me?
The amount that's budgeted in 2015 is just the January portion of last year's. So it's not budgeted in there at all for the fall of this year. That, I think, from what I hear, is going to
That's the ice rink.
The football didn't change much. And like Hannah mentioned earlier today, the football, although our numbers are going down, it's still one of the few programs that makes money. Or I shouldn't say one of the few, one of the
Professional services, that
the referees. Mhm.
Thank you. Okay.
Ken Ellis, not much of a change there. Professional services there are for the instructors on Zumba and yoga that we have in there, and a few other of our projects or programs.
I have a question about that.
Yep.
Not about that, but something it brought to my mind. When we were going through claims one day, we saw, like, I guess Nikki took some kids to, or took somebody to Holiday World.
Yes.
And the price for the tickets were put on the city credit card. That's reimbursed, correct?
Well, that was part of our summer program we have at the field house. It's a 4-week program that we charge per person to be a part of that program.
Okay.
So, and Hannah, check me if I'm wrong, do we charge for the trip? We charge each family for the trip to Holiday World? Or does that come out of the?
Go to attend the summer camp, I think, is $80.
Okay, yeah, the $80 fee is what pays for that Holiday World trip.
Okay. So what's the total cost of the program?
$80 per
So
participant.
what is the total cost of the program involving staff that it takes to do the camp? Is the $80 covering that plus the activities that they do? Or is it just covering their activities?
It's, help me out here.
I don't have a profit and loss.
Do you see where I'm going with this?
Program. She hadn't figured that out yet, which would include the employees.
Right.
And everything that-
Historically, we break pretty much about even on that program. The cost for our employees and the cost for the trips that we take out is covered by the registration fees.
Just a quick question, too,
Yep.
just from a legal thing. These trips that, so it's city employees taking kids out, supervising.
With the Holiday World trip, we had donated by the Greta Clark School a bus to take them.
Okay. What about you, it's city employees that are kind of like responsible for the kids?
Yes.
And have we checked with our insurance carrier to make sure that that's covered by insurance? Because a lot of times the policies will only impact covering activities on the city property. When you're doing trips outside of the city, we want to make sure there's insurance, because I've seen a very big potential liability issue.
Right.
Off-site, that may not be covered by liability, whether there's a wreck, whether there's an incident in Holiday World, or God knows what. I mean, city-
To answer your question, I can't answer that.
Well, but not only that, we were in school, we didn't even take a field trip without permission slips and waiving, you know.
I've just seen very big liability, taking children out to, 2 hours away somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I just think we have our insurance covered, that's great, but I just hate to have something maybe major.
So the parents would have to sign it, it's all some
Well, and it's way beyond that too. I'm just talking about, we need, regardless of if parents sign off or not, we need to make sure that's covered by the city.
Because they can still sue. It doesn't matter. It's not a waiver.
Falls
Something
apart.
happens to a child, this day and age, I hate to say it, if Jared Fogel's out there or something.
Right.
But, I mean, we have to be honest about that stuff.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question, would that need to be like a rider?
Well, that's what I'm trying to say. You gotta ask the insurance.
I don't think there is a rider on.
That's my point. You gotta ask the insurance company whether it's already part of the policy or not, and we're gonna have to approach it.
Okay.
Gotta stop those type of.
I understand.
Yeah, not to be harsh on you.
No, I get it.
This day and age, that's a big deal.
I will follow up on that.
We don't know what.
Thank you.
Bottom of page 20.
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
I think we increased contractual services because of the referees for basketball and the scorekeepers for volleyball. But I think that's about, well, let's see, we did increase electric and natural gas, our expenses on the utilities for that facility continue to go up. Repairs and maintenance, we didn't ask for any more on that, but we have a lot of, well, I shouldn't say a few issues with that boiler at the field house, that the majority of that 11,000 is spent just on boiler repairs. They've been out there every month in the summer working on the boiler. And it's just so old, I mean,
Is that something that we need to look into, putting in a 98% efficiency, like a heat system or not?
I think it'd be worth looking into. We're looking at that. We're also looking at issues with, and this is a different subject, but field house, the brick. We've got several issues with the brick falling off. The lintels are loose. We've had people out there. I'm getting 3 quotes on getting repairs to the brick, and then the electric, updating the electric. At some point in the next month or so, 2 months, I'm going to come to you with pricing on redoing the brick, repairing the brick, and the electric. And then now we may have to look at doing something different with the boiler.
I mean, if we go if we take the boiler out, there's possibly going to be asbestos on the pipe. But when we increase our furnaces, we're going to be more efficient, but we're also going to have more electric power because we're going to have blower motors. So that might have to be the electrical upgrades.
Along with the,
Heating may be kind of
yep, I agree. Okay, and then moving on, softball, we're good there, no changes. Basketball, asked for a little bit more in uniforms and professional services for the referees. Volleyball, no change. Smoking on the river, you mentioned that earlier. You know, Sarah and I have just talked about options on smoking on the river. Like we talked about, it's not a moneymaker. It's a very popular event, although this year our numbers were down. So we've just thrown some ideas back and forth about maybe, you know, if we did eliminate smoking, maybe we could put that money, which you can see the Smoking on the River had a budget of $25,000, and do another country event or another a regional talent or national talent on the river stage. So it's nothing we've decided we're getting rid of smoking. That's not it, but we're talking about it. Trolley and dog park are good. Steamboat days, $34,000. We've asked for more for professional services and contractual services. Those are mainly for the bands and the professional services.
Maybe art. There's a lot of art.
Right.
I know Shane's doing a lot with some different artists.
Yes, the demonstrating artists and the juried artists.
Well, but they pay to be there.
Well, that's correct.
Well, the juried artists pay to be there. Yeah.
But not he's got people on the corners, he's got, I don't know what all that was a part of the meeting. I just know Shane's got a lot of things lined up.
But this is the thing. We can't keep getting bigger and better every year. We have got to get a budget, and we have got to stick to it. We've had this conversation before, because that's how we keep getting in the red. And we're going to have to, or we're going to have to start charging for things.
Well, like on the steamboat, we appropriated $35,000, but it really didn't show what we spent. Contractual service was $20,000. You've increased it, but we really don't show what we spent on them. If we spend that and then some, do we have anything to break even? It doesn't really show.
I'm not sure why
Is it
2015 activity isn't on there. Do you know?
Probably because you hadn't spent it.
Yeah, probably because it's not been spent yet.
Last year.
No, this is just showing the 2015 activity.
Oh, I'm sorry. Right.
2014 activity.
There's your activity.
It's close to the 14, Mike.
Yeah, 108 and 14,
Yeah, look at 2014.
first column.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. The 2015 hasn't happened yet. So yeah, we spent $108,000 on the 24-5 14 steamboat days. We have a budget of 80,000, so we're asking for more to cover what we spent last year. We're not doing any more than we did last year with that 114,000. Other part, no changes. And I think that's it. Heather, is that it for me? Oh, on page 24, River Stage.
Okay, we're gonna talk about this.
Yes.
Are your professional services and your contract services, are they bands or entertainment?
I'm sorry, changed the page. That was 24.
180,000 for professional services?
Right, the professional services are for the bands, and the contractual services is Sounds Unlimited, who handles the music or the sound and the lighting.
Any special equipment that you have in mind there, Paul, for like 35,000?
I don't think so. We don't need anything more there. I mean, everything is in good shape. It's within 2 to 3 years old. So other than the fact that we had 25,000 under other services, and now we don't, and there's 24 under equipment, I don't know if we just move that from one line to the other.
What we've done before, we didn't mention it early on, is any capital expenditures like equipment. We pull everything out to $5,000
Oh, right, you're right. Lisa did mention that.
until circuit breakers come back, and then we move it back in there.
Okay.
Unless we had to cut the circuit breaker.
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
Yes.
Be consistent.
I have a question. The River Stage, the money, is that what we take from gaming? Where does River Stage gets its money appropriated from?
Because gaming money doesn't come until the end of the year, October-ish, then we've been using the parks money to fund that, to transfer out from the parks fund. Because they needed the cash prior to October, you need cash come January 1st.
So what parks fund are we using?
Parks, general fund, the parks fund,
Okay.
204,
And do you reimburse
Transfer
that
out.
with the game?
and then the gaming money goes into 209, and some of parks money goes into 209.
Right, and we might not want to be doing gaming this year for that, so we're going to have to find some other source of funding for that.
So we're hoping the sponsorship's going to alleviate a lot of that.
I don't think so.
But I don't,
Yeah, because we're over, usually we put in 200,000 and this is 357.
yeah.
And I'm not going to be here, so it doesn't matter. I keep forgetting. It's like,
Yeah, but still, that River Stage keeps going up and up and up and up, even when everything we try to do to offset, it just isn't.
well, we can always say she has to stay within the 269 budget from last year.
That's 14.
Or 14, I'm sorry, 273.
Well, we already said that. They got to
Yeah.
revert back to that because that gaming is going to be looked at for something other than River Stage.
So are you saying then you want to take the, you want to pull these increases out and make everything 215?
Well, I think that's what we've been saying about everyone, was supposed to be going back to 215. Is that not what we said at the beginning?
Mm-hmm. They revert back to the 2015.
Okay, so then the,
I
other
think
supplies, professional and contractual services, all that reverts to
215.
50, excuse me.
I think we said that early on,
Mhm.
but I don't think as each department head was here, we said, I don't know if we were clear, your 216 budget needs to be what your 215 was. I don't think we said that.
And we said that to Ann, we
Yeah,
did
so
say that
that's
to
to Andy.
Andy.
I don't know logistically how you want to handle that. Do you want me to put in the budget, 2015 budget, and then when you all decide it's time, after circuit breakers come, then I'm gonna have to come to you for an additional appropriation on every single.
How did you do it logistically? Because it's what we
That's
did
what we did
last
last
year, we
year.
diverted
I
back.
put in the 2000 and, say, I would put in the 2016 budget of what you guys decide, not the 2015. So I
We
just need
just-
to know logistically how you want to do that.
What I think we did is primarily a lot of the bigger line items were the capital costs. So we pulled those.
We pulled it
And
under
the
council.
supplies and the other stuff, most likely they were like for next year,
The requested
2016, the requested amount.
Yes.
That's what happened. And,
Do you want me to put in the requested amount, or do you want me to put in the 2015 amount and then come back and ask for additionals on every line item that has an increase?
well, to me, I think, since we're just kind of proving it concept, until we all agree and figure it out, we need to get an answer to you.
Right.
But maybe not right now.
Yes, I don't need that in front.
So what does that mean on River Stage?
Well, River Stage is something we're going to take a hard look at.
Yeah.
That's probably going to take, when we have, I know they're going to have other, but that's probably going to have to be something. I really like I think with Sarah, we need to sit down with Paul and, Sarah has to be in on this discussion because, we're significantly jumping up.
Is she already locking in bands for next year?
She is.
She doesn't do that until December or January.
Because if, in fairness to her, if we're gonna not give her the extra $50,000 for bands, she needs to know that, not commit to them.
Right.
So we need to,
Why did we make the big jump,
Or
Paul?
no, I see. I'm not-
Did you think that was gonna be money coming in from,
No, the sponsorship money, I didn't raise it for that reason. Maybe better bands, and not that there's anything wrong with the bands we have. Maybe bringing in a National Talent Act once or twice a year.
dang on, we can't afford what we got?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Can't.
That's the problem.
See, that's it. See, we're struggling and we keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
And we've got money coming, especially, I keep looking at the Big Four station and the marine and all this other money. We're gonna have to find another $500,000 to do that, and I don't know if Edit's the best place to pull that from, so. I don't know. No, it's
I don't
not.
think it is.
No, I don't think it is either.
I think we need to put it under parks, because that's what
Mm-hmm.
it's for, and then
Right.
at least we can account for it.
Right.
And then we can do something later and offset it if we have to, but
Right.
at least get a full accounting of what our parks cost.
Right, and I don't like being down $243,000 in our general fund at the end of the year, because anything could happen, and we would be hurting.
Or your insurance is big enough.
Yeah.
If you look at your summary sheet, parks is one of the yellow lines.
I have been saying that for years.
Estimated revenue.
How did you get away with it?
42,000.
And they keep adding them more and more throughout the year.
Funded budget, but it is more than the rest.
I have no more questions.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Paul.
That's all right.
You're welcome. Thank you for hanging around. Poor thing. There's pizza in the kitchen.
Your patience too, you've had to shoulder a lot.
Our next meeting is Wednesday at 5 o'clock, is that correct?
Oh, are we done? He's done by now.